Could Sonic the Hedgehog solo and defeat the various monsters and gods of Elden Ring? Let's find out. A couple of weeks back, I asked you guys what video did you want to see next after my latest video. And a lot of the comments said that you wanted to see Sonic in the Elden Ring verse. And hey, I'm more than happy to suffice. As you guys know, I'm going to be doing Game Sonic versus Game Mario for my 100,000 subscriber special. So let's get Sonic back on the channel before we dive into that massive matchup. And this is a pretty good way to do it. And this is also a pretty good opportunity for me to introduce Soulsborne scaling on my channel. And there's also a fact that a lot of my contemporaries have put Elden Ring and other video game characters in that verse to see if they could solo. So why not put like the video game character that's not Mario after all? And honestly, I think this matchup's pretty appropriate, as a lot of the early 2000s Sonic bosses look like there's something straight out of Dark Souls or Elden Ring. So yeah, let's see if Sonic could actually hold his own against these characters. Before that, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Once again, we're on the road to 100,000 subscribers, and to go that we're inching super close to by the second at this point. At the moment, we've got around 95,000 subscribers. So I just want to thank you guys once again. But if you're new here and you like video games, comics, anime, or pretty much anything geeky that you want to see power scaled, odds are I've got something on my channel, or I've got something in the works that should pique your interest. So stacking that on top of the fact that we post multiple shorts a week on top of a long format like this, and seeing as how it's all free, you're gonna get a lot of content out of me. So yeah, just consider it. But with that being said, let's get into Sonic versus Elden Ring, because I know that's why everyone here clicked the video. For the actual bottom of the barrel characters in this verse, we have like literal stock enemy NPC characters, with the weakest of these guys being in the wall level ranges due to their GPE. We have better feats though, fortunately enough, as characters are passively able to create craters that would get to the city blocks, even town level ranges. But that's enough garbage, I'm not gonna lie. I don't want to talk about Homelander victims. If we're gonna talk about stuff like seriously, a lot of these characters have very passive mountain to large island level showings. Radahn's able to hold back like dozens of meteors on screen, which we get into those mountain level ranges. We've got characters that can passively create massive storms. But I mean, at literal weakest, once again, we're gonna have to go to NPC weapons, with Knights of the Golden Order possessing weapons that are stated in lore to be able to shake the planet, which would be a small country to just country level feat. So yeah, pretty much every boss in the game that's relevant should upscale that. So even though the tutorial boss of the game is probably country level off lore, and it wouldn't be even inconsistent due to the higher tier characters having very passive mountain level showings and such. And for very low tier speed scaling, we have the Tarnished, who's able to react to Radahn, who can fight at verbatim light speeds. We'll move on to Radahn later, as he has far more impressive feats in lore, but I just wanted to give you some of his casual feats for some of the low tier characters to kind of sort of downscale. So yeah, let's see what Sonic's got in the bag for low tier Elden Ring characters. And well, Sonic should do just fine, as just using classic Sonic scaling, he's strong enough to box with a Death Egg robot, which is implied to power the Death Egg as we know it, because once it's destroyed, it causes the entire space station to collapse, with this station being powerful enough to destroy the entire planet Earth. One thing that's notable about this instance is the fact that the Sonic Earth is much more durable than our IRL Earth, as in a Sonic Channel 2021 like YouTube exclusive storyline, Eggman was going to use the Eclipse cannon to blow up a city. This is important because he states that the weapon is able to blow up stars, and he was only using 0.5% of its power, and it would only merely destroy a city. A lot of you guys should know that 0.5% of star level is way more than enough power to destroy the planet Earth. So this hints at the fact that the Sonic Earth is just much more durable than its IRL counterpart. And classic Sonic in his second appearance arguably scales to such levels of power. And it's not even inconsistent, as during Sonic CD, he's able to break the chains off of a little planet, which is a large planetary feat, with some calcs even getting it into the small star level ranges. And you might be asking yourself, why is it that high? The planet is not that big. But unironically enough, calcs assert that the Sonic Earth is like the size of a small star, and Sonic's able to break chains that can just hold this celestial body in orbit. And as for his speed, he easily gets into those light speed ranges as well, with just gameplay mechanics showing consistently that he can dodge lasers and beams of light and stuff of the sort. So yeah, Sonic easily clears the lower levels of Elden Ring. Now moving on to the higher end stuff, and I alluded to us coming back to Radon, and one thing you have to consider is that he's literally mindless and dying mid-game. But despite this fact, he's able to hold the constellations that are shown moving into place upon his defeat. This is something that's shown once again in the game and alluded to many times in lore. With this feat getting anywhere between star level to even solar system level. This level is consistent as we have other bosses such as the Elden Beast that can create pocket dimensions that contain starry stars. With the Versus Wiki recording that it would be a multi-solar system level feat to create such a pocket dimension. And looking back at it, there's a whole bunch of characters that have feats of similar magnitude in terms of creating pocket dimensions or scaling to such nebulae. So as we get deeper into those cosmic level ranges, how does Sonic the Hedgehog compare once again? And well, modern Sonic should be fine, to be honest, right? As he scales to infinite. And I know a lot of you guys hate when I scale infinite above Solaris and all the top tiers, so I'm not going to do that for this video. But I'm going to upscale infinite off of Eggman's final Egg Blaster, as Eggman states that infinite's creation would make up for all of past Eggman's endeavors 1,000-fold, and he's like his greatest, most powerful creation yet, which logically should upscale him off of a lot of characters. But once again, I'm just going to keep it so infinite is stronger than the final Egg Blaster, which was capable of destroying an entire solar system in a single blast. And remember, according to Eggman, this guy Infinite is apparently 1,000 times stronger, and base Sonic's able to swap hands with him. Like, I'm not saying they're one-to-one completely, but Sonic's able to scale to him, which is important. The cosmic level of power is consistent for Sonic the Hedgehog, as he's able to outperform previous supersonic versions of himself. For example, in Generations, in base, he's able to defeat Perfect Chaos, whereas in the original events of the game, he needed all 7 Chaos Emeralds to achieve this feat. This is impressive, as a single one of the Chaos Emeralds is able to shift the continent back in place, but taking into account the size of the Sonic planet, the entire kinetic energy of this feat would actually get into those large star level ranges. And if a single Chaos Emerald is that powerful, even as early as during the events of Sonic the Fighters, Sonic is able to box with other Sonic characters that are amped by a single Chaos Emerald. And he's no stranger to fighting creatures or mechs that are powered by a single Chaos Emerald or just all 7. And just remember, once again, a current base modern Sonic would probably beat the brakes off of a Super Sonic from the classic or Dreamcast era. So Sonic is into that solar system level degree to a very casual level at this point. For the top tiers of Elden Ring, we're going to have to talk about the universal implications. And honestly, it's pretty simple. All of those starry spaces, we have ways to argue that these spaces are actually universal in nature. For starters, the Witch's space has a guidebook statement that equates her space to a universal construct. The Elden Beast, who I alluded to earlier, is stated to be the embodiment of causality. Like, unironically, he's the embodiment of cause and effect, such forces that hold the universe in place. And we also have the Dragon Lord, who exists beyond time, with his scales being able to warp the universe as we know it. And it's also from the last guy we get our higher end speed metas, as we go from faster than light to possibly MFTL to all the way up to immeasurable via these guys existing beyond time. So when it's all said and done, Elden Ring characters cap at around universal plus with immeasurable speed. So how does the blue blur compare? And honestly, this is the easiest part of the video, as Sonic has way more universal metas than he has solar system metas. Like, unironically, just off the top of my head, we have the final bosses of Sonic 06, Sonic Generations, and Sonic Frontiers. I'm going to go into each of these instances, independently, so let's just get into that. Obviously, during 06, the final boss is Solaris, an extra dimensional being that exists beyond time and space, an extra dimensional being that just threatened the entire cosmology of Sonic as we know it. He's an eldritch being so strong and vast in scope that our 3 main hedgehogs had to fight him in the past, present, and future to truly defeat him. We've got Sonic Generations, where Sonic teams up with his classic self to box with the Time Eater, a guy who lives up to his name as the guy eats time, space, and he was a threat to at least 4 timelines just during the events of Sonic Generation. And then we have Sonic Frontiers, where Sonic gets a new form that's stronger than his usual supersonic state, all in order to box with the End, a character who could look into Sonic's past experiences, and he calls all of his past enemies pathetic. So Sonic at his current peak in power is stronger than characters who consider extra dimensional monsters and characters that can eat time and space as pathetic. So Sonic has a lot of universal implications. And as for immeasurable speed, I think you guys should have picked up on that fact. He has that casually via being able to scale to Solaris, someone who, exists beyond time and space. He boxes with the Time Eater, who flies throughout time. So yeah, Sonic easily finds himself in those immeasurable speed ranges as well. But in terms of AP, he's got Elden Ring B, as he's arguably a 4th to 5th dimensional character, arguably even higher, but I didn't want to dive into the full cosmology scope of Sonic the Hedgehog, because what I laid on the table is more than enough to piece up anyone from Elden Ring. So to answer this week's video's question, yeah, Sonic could solo Elden Ring fairly easily. Thank you guys for watching it. It was a pretty fun video to make, and I was happy to get Sonic back here on the channel. I want to give a shout out to Mr. Crafty Scales, as his video with Doomslayer really helped me on the Elden Ring cosmology and some of its scaling chains, so be sure to check him out. But as always, I'll see you guys next week with another video for myself. But until then, stay Big G fans.